Imagine living in a small town where your deepest secrets, the ones you thought no one knew, suddenly appear in your mailbox, written by someone who seems to know everything about you. Now imagine it's not just you, but your neighbors, your friends, even your town's officials, all receiving the same anonymous, poison-filled letters. This isn't a movie. This is what actually happened in Circleville, Ohio. A peaceful community that turned paranoid, suspicious, and divided when hundreds of terrifying letters began to arrive in the 1970s. The letters accused people of affairs, corruption, and even murder. They destroyed reputations, tore families apart, and led to one of the most bizarre attempted murders in American history. Welcome to the story of the Circleville Poison Pen Letters, a mystery that remains unsolved to this very day. Circleville, Ohio, a quiet Midwestern town just south of Columbus. Population, around 13,000, a place where everyone knows everyone. In 1976, the peace shattered. A school bus driver named Mary Gillespie received a letter that would change everything. The letter was anonymous. It accused Mary of having an affair with Gordon Massey, the superintendent of schools. The writer warned her to end it, or face exposure. The handwriting was blocky, all caps, aggressive, and the tone, full of rage. Stay away from Massey. Everyone knows what you're doing. I've been observing your house and your children. This is no joke. Mary was shocked but kept it to herself, until her husband, Ron Gillespie, received a letter too. It said that Mary hadn't listened, and now the writer would go public. Soon, more letters appeared, sent not only to the Gillespies, but to co-workers, school officials, and even Circleville's sheriff. The unknown author seemed to know everything: personal schedules, relationships, even small private conversations. It felt as though someone was watching, all the time. As weeks passed, the letters multiplied. Dozens, then hundreds, flooded the town. Everyone handwritten in the same black block style. Accusations ranged from adultery to theft, to claims that officials were covering up crimes. And then, in August 1977, the situation took a dark, deadly turn. One evening, Ron Gillespie, Mary's husband, received a mysterious phone call. According to reports, he grabbed his gun, furious, saying he knew who the letter writer was, and stormed out. Moments later, his truck crashed into a tree. Ron was found dead. The sheriff called it an accident, claiming Ron's blood alcohol level was high. But friends and family insisted Ron never drank. And just like that, the Circleville letter writer had their first suspected victim. But the letters didn't stop. In fact, they got worse. Now they accused the sheriff himself of a cover-up, claiming Ron had been murdered. The anonymous writer was mocking the investigation. And the town fell deeper into paranoia. No one could be trusted. Friends turned on friends. Marriages collapsed. People started to believe the writer could be anyone: a neighbor, a co-worker, maybe even a family member. By the early 1980s, the letter campaign had lasted for years. Mary Gillespie tried to move on, but one day, while driving her school bus route, she spotted a crude sign by the roadside. It mentioned her daughter by name and contained vile accusations. Mary stopped to tear it down. As she removed the sign, she discovered it was rigged to a small box, and inside that box was a gun, set up as a booby trap. It was aimed directly at her. Had she pulled the sign the wrong way, she might have been shot dead. The gun was traced back to Paul Freshour, Mary's former brother-in-law, the husband of Ron's sister. Police arrested Freshour, who denied everything, but during a search of his garage, they found items similar to the ones used in the trap. He was convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 7 to 25 years in prison. You'd think that would end it, but it didn't, because the letters continued. While Paul Freshour sat in an Ohio prison, the letters kept arriving, to townspeople, to police, even to him. One was even sent to a Columbus TV station that had covered the case. It read, "Now, when are you going to believe it's not Paul Freshour?" The warden confirmed Fresh Hour had no access to writing materials or mail. Yet the handwriting and style were identical. How was that possible? Investigators suspected someone else, maybe even multiple people, were involved, but no one was ever charged. After 10 years, Fresh Hour was released in 1994. He maintained his innocence until his death in 2012, claiming he was framed. Even after his release, the mystery letters reportedly stopped as suddenly as they began. To this day, nobody knows who the real Circleville letter writer was. Was it Paul Fresh Hour? A family member with a grudge? Or someone completely outside the circle, feeding off chaos and fear? Some handwriting experts say the letters were clearly written by multiple people. Others believe it was a lone stalker who enjoyed playing puppet master with an entire town. There's even a theory that the gun was planted to frame Fresh Hour, and the real author was still out there, laughing. What's certain is that the Circleville letters destroyed lives, ended marriages, and left an entire town traumatized for decades. Almost 50 years later, Circleville still remembers the fear, the feeling that someone, somewhere, knew too much. Today, the mystery remains unsolved. The case is still occasionally revisited by investigators and true crime researchers, but without DNA or modern forensics on the old letters, answers are unlikely. So maybe the author of those poison letters is gone forever. Or maybe they're still out there, watching. And if they are, they know you're watching this too.